Alright, good evening everybody. System Chalk here with, I believe, the 10th episode of the Knock Legacy for Cultist Simulator. I tried to do a bunch of videos in one go, but I've had a break between these, so I'm going to need a minute to review the position we're at. Season of Despair is always going to be a case where we want to mind the Dread. I seem to recall we weren't doing on the white. Right, because we wanted to maximize our vitality and move up to another level of physique. So I think we are still going to work on that. Okay, so we'll put health in. We are. Excuse me. Sorry, a little unprepared today. Okay, so we will. I think probably doing the heart. Doing sort of the heart rotations we had earlier is probably the right call here. The only difference would be if I have a way of more effectively putting a heart follower in the talk verb, but I don't actually want to get rid of the mystique yet because of the earning potential for paintings. Sorry. I kind of want to just stop recording and go over again, but I know I'll never start the broadcast if I do that. So there might be a couple sneezes. During the broadcast. Okay, last question would be, what do I want to do with the dream slot? We don't have any sickness coming up. So let's use our passion. Now I pass between the scarbark trees. The moon passes behind branches. I was fine until I started recording, I promise. Alright. Though fingers remain in my hair. I am stumbling over roots now. It is tempting to drop to all fours to avoid the low branches. Pale wings move deep in the night. Okay, sorry, 1 second. Alright, my apologies, it's a disaster. For those of you who are still hanging out, we are going to be working on increasing our physique. And, actually, yeah, particularly if this gets flagged for manual moderation, my apologies to whoever's having to review this. This will be an excruciating half hour, I'm sure. Yeah, let's do our best. Okay, so we're gonna basically focus this time on getting that last level of the health. It's a little bit less important to me to focus on the reason here, not because I don't think the reason is unimportant, but essentially we've got a leg up towards improving our physique already. And so what that's going to do is it's going to... Like, basically, we talked about this previously. This is one of the harder skills to level up. And so, because I have sort of my leg up here already, I want to try and build on that momentum. And we had a decent rotation going to get the level that we already have. So in this case, we're going to continue along those lines. It does mean that we're going to have to leave some of the lore aside, but I'll try and make it as quick as I can. Better not, I must be careful of the company I keep. Crowded thoroughfares by day, a fog-wrapped labyrinth by night. I'll set my minions to searching for opportunities. Another course of the heart, working as intended, and that was for the recruitment of Dorothy. Dorothy is an enthusiastic sort, and I have turned her enthusiasm to our advantage. So, if I have things that I can do with Dorothy... Again, one major option I have here is just to talk... here. I think probably the best, though, would be to take the Thunderous Secret and use that to try and entice people. So we will have to stop generating vitality for a little bit just to combine these two into a lesson learned. So we'll send Clovette out again. Tonight they listen, but they do not hear. If you use reason with more reason doctrines or passion with more passionate lore, you are more likely to create fervor. The deeper the lore, the greater the chance of exaltation. Now, generally it would be good for me to get exaltation, but it's not the most important thing for me right now. It's really just the opportunity to use the heart lore in as many slots as possible. Where'd Clovette go? Send her out again. Here's our vitality. My own heart pumps more strongly today. And Season of Vision's coming up, so we're not really doing any painting or anything that could generate some fascination, so we should be fine. A hireling? We will not get the shifty woman. And Season of Despair coming up again, so it's the usual, you know, the usual cautions that we have. Let's try not to generate dread. Let's try not to generate fascination. I think the well might be... Actually, no, I'm going to try the Temple of the Wheel. Yes. The toes tap, all is brisk and all is well. In the wood beyond the walls of the Mansus, a jagged rock rears like the petrified remains of a dancing giant. Sorry, I should have said this ahead of time. There's the description of the petrified remains of a dancing giant. I didn't remember the petrified part, but reference to a dancing giant in in this area, so I was like, that's probably going to be more likely to have trembling airs. So I trailed my hand along its flank over the eye signs and lichen and the crude graffiti of the lesser wood powers, and I felt the thrumming of the wheel, which is past. It is past, but something continues. Yes, I remembered the dancing giant and not the wheel. It's just the way my brain works. All right, so we will grab vitality here. So there's three vitality that we'll generate. We'll have a lesson learned. We need 4, if I recall correctly. Yeah. So we still have a way to go, and we are going to lose some progress as vitality expires. But in this case, really, right now, it's just about generating as many vitality as possible. And then I just want to keep an eye in terms of the timers. Okay, we've got another mentor coming up, so this could result in a... this could potentially result in a commission that we can fulfill. In the House of the Sun, the dance of the angels... Sorry. In the House of the Sun, the dance of the angels of glory does not cease. Those who are cast down, wave, or wound or snow are gone from the house, and as long as their part... Sorry. Okay, let's try that one more time. In the House of the Sun, the dance of the angels of glory does not cease. Those who are cast down, wave, or wound, or snow are gone from the house, and as long as their parts in the dance are filled, they may never return. Therefore, let us join hands and add our little steps to the dance. So, the money is always nice. Exaltation... This always has a risk, right? There's going to be the potential that we lose some money. Now, I don't know if I want to... I'll give you a preview of things that are coming up. So, sometimes my words and those I have borrowed move my congregation beyond mere concentration to exaltation. So, we've talked about using reason, we've talked about using passion, but what about health? Hint, to be a threshold. St. Agnes has drawn me here where I might fulfill my potential, not merely to open doors, but to become myself a door. Add lore of at least the 10th level and fervor to begin the process of creating a lock scar. So, obviously, if we do it here, people stand before me, voices raised in song, faces upraised aflame. There are doors that few ever see. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave this aside because it says at least of the 10th level, so we'll read that when we're ready to go. But yeah, there is a way of using health with this, and this is where the DLC gets a little nuts. So we will improvise upon secret doctrine before a fervent congregation. And apologies, I'm still trying to suppress the sneezes. The congregation is already in a state of excitement. Any secret knowledge will almost certainly drive them to exultation. So this expiring into the vitality is fine. It's best if they can sort of be a little staggered, just so I can do the combining. But I will always take extra vitality over, perfectly timed. Usually I can make the components work, even if it means I have to lose 1 or 2 bets. Our devotion has drawn comment, so we're lucky enough that that's mystique and not notoriety. I do want to try and keep some mystique on the table, just in case a season of suspicion comes up. But right now I am willing to live a little more dangerously as far as generating the notoriety is concerned, which is of course why I'm doing more sermons than I used to. We'll grab the occult scrap. We're at the point here where we probably have enough for the expeditions, but I don't think it hurts to take a look around. I walked in the wood last night, and the scissors worked in the distance, and furred things crammed my mouth and swarmed my ears, and I felt the old urge to drop to wolf fours and nose among the roots. But I remembered that I walk upright by day, and I know fire and steel and words, and at last I found where the velvet had concealed a secret on tree bark beneath moss. I read it then with the tips of my fingers, and I think now that I could write it in full. Alright, and I am ready to grow stronger. Use this lesson learnt with your strength skill. So again, we need a few more of these. Okay, so the big key for me is that I need at least the 60 seconds to be able to combine them into a lesson learned. Otherwise, I generally try to produce more vitality. So we've got 1 lesson learned here, 2, we'll get our 3rd after combining this one. But again, it's 60 seconds to combine, so this one is probably going to decay before we're able to work with it. But again, we never know what's going to happen with the course of the heart, so we'll work with what we've got. Long walks kill cobwebs, and of course going to the wood will help us out. Sometimes my words and those I've borrowed move the congregation beyond mere concentration to exaltation. Again, I'm not going to use an inner circle here. At last their fervor is spent. What have they made of this night? There's a mechanical explanation there that while it's probabilistic, when you don't have the fervor, you always get it when you have the fervor. So we'll continue to expand on the heart. And Count Jannings has shown up, so we can learn from each other. Count Gottlob Jannings represents a continental confraternity of physicians and duelists. He could use your assistance. So, I will talk with him. It only takes 10 seconds. The Good Count's fraternity in Europe is seeking particular research. It is always good to get an idea of what he might need. If we get a chance to do a heart. Okay. Very substantial commission on edge. So essentially we can't do any commissions for the time being. Fair enough. We'll just use the Thunderous Secret to try and bring in some more bodies. I'm not going to work too hard about bringing the hanger-on in, but if we have a named character, I might be willing to try and bring them in. It sort of depends on where we're at. We are, just dangling in front of us as far as that higher level of health, so I'm a little single-minded on it right now. Our devotion has drawn comment. So extra mystique I don't mind. It's the notoriety that's the concern. The wolf despair prowls elsewhere. Time the sundial's shadow passes. I must have funds to live, or I will become ill. So we do have a season of suspicion coming up. Tonight they listen, but they do not hear. If you use reason with more reason doctrines, or passion with more passionate lore, you are more likely to create fervor. The deeper the lore, the greater the chance of exaltation. So here's a couple things that I'm going to do here. I do want... So here's the dilemma that I have at the moment. I have the goal of generating as much vitality as possible. Using the lore will allow me to potentially generate the course of the heart, which will give me the vitality. But it also carries with it the risk that fervor will produce a notoriety. You know what? I think I'm just going to go for the risk. If we wind up with a notoriety, then I'm going to have to adjust the approach, but I don't want to get off track just because I'm overly cautious. I'm abrim with vitality. If I devote some time to exercise, I will benefit. Better not. I must be careful of the company I keep. Crowded thoroughfares. Let's try the Temple of the Wheel again. Yeah. Laces uncoil, windows swing open, locks move as if oiled. Last night I came in the wood to the high jagged rock called the Temple of the Wheel. Its flank, patched with black lichen and eye signs, opened like a mouth beneath my hands, and I walked in the whispering space within. The gods who were stone, the first of the hours, are almost all gone now, but here their voices remain. Wheel, Flint, Tide, and the others without names. And for Clovette, crowded thoroughfares by day, a fog-wrapped labyrinth by night. I will set my minions to searching for opportunities. So we'll get the woods, the passion. I think probably we'll visit the wheel unless something else comes up. So the good news, most of this mystique is going to go away on its own, but again, there's always the danger that I generate a notoriety and the weary detective comes calling. Okay. I've found someone who I might pay to enact regrettable necessities. I'll not use it. Again, we're running the risk of notoriety, but... Tonight they listen, but they do not hear. If you use reason with more reasoned doctrines or passion with more passionate lore, you are more likely to create fervor. The deeper the lore, the greater the chance of exaltation. So I'm going to do something a little unusual here. I'm doing okay for money, so I'm actually going to use reason with the waking chant here. So the idea is that I'm actually trying to pull back on my chances of generating exaltation, and this is just to minimize any additional mystique or and basically minimize any new mystique or notoriety from being generated. So it doesn't necessarily help me cash-wise, but all that I'm doing here is I'm basically adding 10 seconds on to the possibility of generating a Course of the Heart. So it's not really going to affect my plans over here, but it may have consequences for this threat. And so it's funny, right? In terms of, this is one thing that I always find kind of impressive in terms of just how games work and game systems work. In Cultist Simulator, I think it's hard to argue that it's, got a very sophisticated way of handling random numbers. You kind of have sort of 3 speeds. You've got, almost likely to fail, almost certainly failing, your middle of the road one, which is usually it works more often than not. And then there's the pretty likely to work, but no guarantees. There's like almost never a guarantee in Cultist Simulator. So, again, it's fine. Like, I don't want to be, I might be sounding mean when I talk about how it's done, but like, if you think about it, like in terms of most games, it's all in the computer. So you can have this really very fine-grained either table of probabilities, or you can just get whatever distribution you want. But what's kind of interesting here is that even with something which is has these sort of 3 settings in a lot of cases, there's probably more in the background that I'm not appreciating, but in this case here there's still enough for me to be able to make some decisions to sort of regulate exactly how intensely I'm pursuing certain outcomes. And again, it's not something I would necessarily have come up with on my own, but in the moment when I'm trying to achieve one of these objectives, I actually think it's kind of neat that I'm able to do that. I will speak to their souls, and if I speak with precision, their souls may answer me. So ideally, they're picking up the new stuff. I'm ready to grow stronger. Use this lesson learned with your strength skill. So we've got 53 seconds left on this vitality, so we have to sort of waste the 60 seconds. Now, if we were able to somehow generate... if we could somehow generate 2 vitality, not exactly instantly, but within the next 60 seconds, we've got our higher level of physique. I think the problem is that we're going to have to use the study verb to get the next vitality. So, again, I'd love to use the peculiar rumor, but we're currently under investigation. So there's the Temple of the Wheel with the trembling air. So that's going to take 60 seconds, but it's encouraging. The toes tap, all is brisk and all is well. In the wood beyond the walls of the mantis, jagged rock rears like the petrified remains of a dancing giant. I trailed my hand along its flank, over the eye signs and lichen, and the crude graffiti of the lesser wood powers, and I felt the thrumming of the wheel, which has passed. It has passed, but something continues. So there is something kind of neat about sort of pursuing and preparing my body for what's going to happen. There's something kind of interesting about going to... going through the wood to the wheel repeatedly for that, that knowledge or that encouragement. Now I pass between scar-barked trees. The moon passes behind branches, though her fingers remain in my hair. I am stumbling over roots now. It's tempting to drop to all fours to avoid the low branches. Pale wings move deep in the night. Okay. I hope this mystique doesn't get picked up. If it well, we've still got a new one here. But yeah, we're getting close to the end. So I'm actually gonna change things around a little bit. So we'll take Tristan. Tristan dislikes distractions. Tristan gets things done. I believe that's a forge. For some reason, I don't. Is it? Why can't I remember what Tristan does? Anyways, doesn't matter. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna change things a little bit. We probably have enough mystique on the board that if I talk about the Thunderous Secret, we're gonna generate another mystique. But what I can do is I can send Dorothy out. Significant conversations in a smoking meeting room. What do I need from my follower? So we'll take the Church of the Bright Edge. We'll put that as the subject. So this is charm. Now, Dorothy's just a... Dorothy's just a believer. It's 2 heart. It's not the most exciting option. It's not really going to work all that much, but it does have the same effect of talking about the Thunderous Secret. I actually get to use it a little bit. It's a little bit more rapid fire because it's just... Or actually, hang on. It may total to 60 after all. I don't know, this might be a little bit faster. But what it does potentially have is, if it works out, we get the... we get the mystique gotten rid of. If it doesn't work out, well, the mystique lasts a little bit longer, but it'll just naturally get picked up by the season of suspicion anyway, or the investigation anyway. So we're down to 2. If they're not, must be careful of the company I keep. Crowded thoroughfares by day, a fog-wrapped labyrinth by night. I will set my minions to searching for opportunities. Okay, Season of Ambitions. If I could, I would paint, but that may not be the right thing to do here because of my mystique. Tonight they listen, but they do not hear. If you use reason with more reasoned doctrines. Yeah, we've read that a few times. So again, we'll do the same thing here. The real aim is to try and get the course of the heart. And back to the Temple of the Wheel, although less likely we'll get the trembling eyes. We do get a furtive truth, though. A detail smuggled in from an adjacent world. In my sleep I came to the high jagged rock, which is still called the Temple of the Wheel, though the hour called the Wheel is long extinct. Another hand has scratched a secret in the black lantern on its flank. I burned that secret into my memory to preserve for waking, before the velvet came out of the violet wood depths and erased it. The velvet is jealous of her secrets. So I do need the furtive truths. Those are nice. I mean, moving up to a higher level in the Mantis is, is nice as well, but... Alright. So we really just need the one... So, ideally, we would just need the one vitality. I do not believe you can use restlessness to combine. I think you do need proper vitality. So this will take 60 seconds. Combining these will take 60 seconds, so that's a total of 120 seconds. So we actually need 3 vitality. So we're close, but we're not quite where we need to be. Long walks kill cobwebs. And we will go back to Dreaming of the Wood because, again, we just need the one vitality trigger. Ah, so it does have heart. But again, it wants 2 vitality, so... The standards of daylight society cannot apply to us, but perhaps we won't emphasize that point. Perhaps we'll rely on charm and good humor. I have supplied elegant platitudes about the high principles of our organization. Okay, Season of Ardors, and another Season of Suspicion coming up, so I need to be mindful again. No one understands us, or else they understand us too well. Okay. So this is a tricky one to deal with, because we really do just have the one mystique to worry about now. Tonight they listen, but they do not hear. We are close, so I think we're gonna... Well, but then that doesn't deal with the restlessness. It does have hard aspect, just not quite the intensity that I want. So, which I could have used the restlessness in recruitment. Oh, this is a no-brainer. So it's going to take 60 seconds to talk with Dorothy, but the mystique will already be picked up, so... Some days are better than others. Some day the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. So I realize this hasn't been the most elaborate in terms of strategy, but we did get close to our objective, so... I came to the Temple of the Wheel, that high and jagged rock, that memorial to the dead gods. Those who take their own lives sometimes first cast themselves from its peak and dream. I found another sleeping soul, scratching the sign of the eye into the lichen at its peak. I do not recall what passed between us, but I will recognize their face in the waking world. So I'd love to use these, but not the best thing to do with a Season of Suspicion. Okay, so we know this is going to decay down into a regular vitality. I don't see an advantage. Okay, let me work out exactly what I need. So I do need one more vitality, no matter what. So what I was just trying to work out was that this is going to decay into a regular vitality, but I need to make sure that I have enough for 4, so I've got one here. So 1 lesson learned, and then this vitality will combine into this one to get me my 4th lesson learned, assuming that the timings work out. This one may wind up decaying as well, so... I found someone who I might pay to enact regrettable necessities. Alright, so we are safe from the investigation, but we do have a season of sickness coming up, which will have... It'll sort of have some consequences as far as our use of vitality is concerned. I found a customer. She'll probably hang it in her spare bedroom and never look at it again, but the money is good. So, unexpected windfall, but not going to complain about it. Let's go back to the sermons. In this case, I don't see... no, actually, there is the possibility of us generating a... No, hang on. There isn't. So I will speak to their souls, and if I speak with conviction, their souls may answer me. So again, trying to generate triggers of the course of the heart. So I need to do something with this vitality before we lose it. And I realize I'm past the time, so I will skip over this text here. And we will set up for the next episode. I also try and take a little bit of a break between recording the next couple of episodes, because I realized the sneezing and just my general fogginess probably didn't help the commentary that much. So, the next oldest vitality needs to be combined into a lesson learnt. So I am a brib with vitality. If I devote some time to exercise, I'll benefit. Back to the wood, because that potentially gives us the heart influence. So, timing-wise, this will combine into a lesson learnt, which will give me the 3rd one, but I'm going to need to combine another one into a lesson learnt, which means, like, again, we don't have 120 seconds, so this will decay into a regular vitality, and that, I suspect we're actually kind of on that treadmill, which means, like I said, the highest level is a little tricky. So we are kind of going to continue as we did before, but really all that I'm waiting for is like 1 course of the heart, and that'll probably crack it open. Again, I need to figure out the exact timings in the moment. I'm not quite able to figure it out on my own. But once we have that, we don't really need to think about health for a while. We won't do the same for reason right away. I will take when the opportunity arises, I will definitely pursue higher levels of reason. But the health is going to be something that, as we go through this playthrough, you will realize why I wanted to make sure that I had that taken care of. Once we get our health taken care of, we'll go back to reading the books. We also have, a little bit of a surplus in terms of funds, so we will be able to go back to Moorlands and buy up some books, and just generally try and push the Mansa side of the playthrough a little bit further. All of that's in the future, though, so thank you for your patience with me tonight. As always, if you're enjoying the series, do feel free to leave a like and a comment. I do enjoy reading all of them, and it's been one neat side effect of doing this every day is to get comments so regularly now and be able to sort of interact with you in whatever limited way that I can. As for the series, I am going to take a small break for myself just to make sure that I'm sort of on top of things for the next recording. But I will see you all tomorrow, and I'll try and make sure it's a better one. Until next time.